Good morning, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. I'm very happy to introduce Trista DeVries. She is the Chief Operating Officer and co-founder of the Canadian Women's Chamber of Commerce. This is the place to go if you are an entrepreneur and women business owner in Canada. This organization is a voice for Canadian women in businesses. It believes that supporting women in building strong businesses with education, resources, and services backed advocacy at all levels of government is the fastest way to close the gender gap in today's business ecosystem. Thank you, Trista, for joining us today. I just would like to encourage all attendees to make as many questions as possible through the Q&A and chat boxes available in the platform, and I'll read them out loud at the end of the session. So thank you so much, Trista. Over to you.
Thanks so much. Hello, everybody. As she said, my name is Trista. I'm the Chief Operating Officer of the Canadian Women's Chamber of Commerce. Today, I'm going to tell you a little bit sort of about who we are, what we do, and our plan for the future, and a couple of things that are exciting and coming up. Definitely, as she said, ask all of the questions that you have, and I will do my best to answer them as thoroughly as possible. So here we go. Let me tell you a little bit about the organization. And give me just 1 second. My keyboard does not want to work. There we go. So the Canadian Women's Chamber of Commerce is a national not-for-profit organization that advocates for the economic priorities of women-owned businesses. So given that we are the first organization of our kind in Canada, we are sort of blazing a new trail here. We do exactly what other chambers of other chambers of commerce do, which is to advocate for their members. So in this case, that means that we are advocating only for women-owned businesses. So CANWCC provides supports to its members through skills development, resources, and community. So our goal is to support you in growing strong businesses through programs and services that will help you take action in your business. So what we want to do is move women past our sort of natural barriers and our natural blocks when it comes to business growth, and give them skills that show them how to move forward in your business, take real actionable steps that will get you to the next stage of growth. So our vision is an equitable opportunity for every Canadian entrepreneur in a diverse, inclusive, and thriving national and international economy. So that's a big vision. And we did only launch in January, on January 15th of 2018. And we are working towards this. So that's why it's a vision. We essentially consider that if we are, providing an ecosystem within the Canadian business climate that provides for an equitable opportunity for every Canadian woman entrepreneur, that will make for a diverse, inclusive, and thriving national economy, which then, figures into the international economy, which is, again, one of the reasons that we have partnered with We Connect International. That is, I'll touch on that a little bit later about why we have, why one of the people that we've partnered with, or one of the people we went to first to partner with, was We Connect International, and that figures into sort of our larger, both national and international picture for women business owners. So our mission is to shape the future of women's entrepreneurship in Canada. Now, there is a little bit of functional that you could tack on to the end of this. So again, that is through skills development, that is through, supporting women in creating business infrastructure for themselves. This is, helping them participate in a larger business ecosystem and understanding their place in that. And most importantly, to be a very strong and clear voice at the table in every policy or advocacy conversation that relates directly to women business owners and has a direct effect on them and their businesses, because that is where we make the big change. That's where we make the big impact. So through our everyday, day-to-day membership, things that we do for our members, we help them shape their businesses, which in turn helps shape the future of women's entrepreneurship in Canada. But we are, very focused on our advocacy agenda, which I'm going to tell you a little bit about in a second, and that is where we see the big change coming from. So next, I will tell you a little bit about what we do. So we do advocacy. First and foremost, we are an advocacy body. So that means that we are a voice in important policy matters impacting women in business. So for anybody who's not familiar with the Chamber of Commerce system or has never been a part of a Chamber of Commerce, a Chamber of Commerce is they are a recognized advocacy body by government, who look to them for an aggregated and targeted understanding of what they're advocating for. So what that means is that membership is directly involved in the creation of those policies. So internally in Chambers of Commerce, there are teams and there are departments that are dedicated only to looking at what policies exist that affect business owners in Canada, and determining where those things could be improved, where new policy needs to be created, and in other ways, it's not necessarily just policy, but in addition to programs. So in our case, we put a gender lens on those policies when we are looking at them. So we run them through a series of tests, and we see if these are good for women, if these are bad for women, if they are neutral for women, in addition to looking at them from a straight up business perspective. Is this good for business? Is this, will this tax cut hurt women business owners specifically more than male business owners or corporations, for example? And will this, is this something that requires us to get involved? So from there, we would reach out to our membership. Now, the discussions with membership about advocacy are constant and ongoing. So we need to know what's happening in your business. We need to know what is affecting you. Anytime you've run up against something with a policy, whether it's related to zoning or whether it's related to tax or whether it's related to being an employer or import-export, those are things that are essential for us in knowing what's happening in your lives, in the day-to-day lives of women business owners. So from there, we then select the policies that we would like to go forward. So that'll be a very long list, or of things that we can choose from, and we will put those out to our membership to vote on. There are usually, in addition, policy meetings so that you can attend. We can explain what this policy means. We can provide the nuance, and we can get feedback from our members directly on what those policies mean to them, how they feel about it, and what they might want to do. So once membership has voted on, say, the top 5 most important policy matters for us to get involved in and to move forward on, then we would take that to our board of directors, and it is either confirmed or amended by our board of directors, and then we go forward and we start working on those policies and working with government. So in addition to that, I just wanted to focus a little bit on programs. So I know that I'm sure that many of you are familiar with the budget that was released in March, and that there was a large pool of funding provided through the BDC to women's business programs and business financing, in addition to a pool of funding for STEM. So we would also, what also falls under advocacy is us getting involved and providing support and input on on the best ways for those programs to be delivered. We may add something complementary, so we might create a complementary program that supplements or supports something that the government is doing, or we might simply offer, our members' feedback on those pieces in the budget, or if they come to us about for program delivery or how to best reach women business owners, we will absolutely provide support on that as well, and that's a big part of what we do. So the most important thing about why there needs to be a Canadian Women's Chamber of Commerce as opposed to your garden variety Canadian Chamber of Commerce is simply that, as I've just described with the advocacy process, it is sometimes very difficult to get a large portion or a majority, and a very large majority in order to have a mandate, to vote on something that only relates to a small portion of membership. So in the same way that there is, an Italian Canadian Chamber of Commerce and a Portuguese Canadian Chamber of Commerce, there's now also a Canadian Women's Chamber of Commerce. We are a federally incorporated nonprofit, and we intend to operate at the national level and to do as much advocacy as possible within individual provinces based on their own needs. So we do intend at this point to do both. So in terms of business growth, the thing that we are trying our hardest to promote to women is that being part of the larger business ecosystem, we know that everybody's busy. Everyone has a lot of things on their plate. But advocacy is really a major way to make an impact in both things that affect you directly, but also to show, your customers and members of your own organization, including your employees, that you take your business very seriously, and that you do, you're a business, that you operate within a business ecosystem and you want to participate in it. And so that is what we are here to support you in doing, and to act as a single voice of women's policy for the country. So this leads me to my next point, which is connection. So in addition to what we do in terms of advocacy, which can seem very dry and policy driven and not so much fun, one of our main goals is to connect our members to one another, to essential resources in the community and internally within our organization, and to a national network of women's organizations. So, as I mentioned, we launched in January, and we are the new guy on the block here. So we didn't come into this space thinking we know better than anybody who's currently out there doing the work, or that we're here to replicate it or replace it or change it in any major fundamental way. What we're here to do actually is to lift up those organizations all across the country that are doing incredible work and very difficult work as well. They're out there every day fighting for women business owners, trying to make sure that women have the supports that they need. They are hearing from them every day, and they do see in a very functional way what directly affects women business owners and what they stumble with. So some of that is related to the advocacy piece, where we have women business owners being affected by government policies or municipal policies, but it also means, what is actually affecting your business, what hurdles you encounter in your business, what do women classically struggle with, and what are our big barriers to moving our businesses forward or growing our businesses. So one of the main things we found when we started doing a survey and started connecting with women's business organizations across the country is that a lot of them are government funded and directly government funded, which means that they are unable to advocate for themselves or their members. So some other advocacy body has to do that advocating for them and for their members. So that valuable information that they're collecting on a day-to-day basis from what they're doing to support women in business every single day doing their jobs doesn't have as much of an outlet as it could. So I like to describe us in a very corny way as when you think about like those infomercials for the air mattress, or sorry, for the foam mattresses, the memory foam mattresses, where it shows the spine on a regular mattress, and it has all the hurdy points, and it has all the bits that don't that aren't great, and then you put them on a memory foam mattress, and then all of your vertebrae have the support they need, and all your muscles are in the right place, and you have a good sleep. So that's kind of what I like to think of us as, is that, we're going to be that memory foam mattress, supporting organizations where they need it, providing the support they need, but not, meddling, not replicating what's already in the marketplace. But most importantly, there are a lot of women's organizations that are national, but like, we don't know about them here in Ontario, but they're operating and flourishing in BC and Alberta, and they are national. They've just, we know from being a national organization that it's difficult to expand across the country, and every province has their own unique needs, and so that can be difficult. So that is also something that we can help with, which is to connect you to amazing women's organizations all across the country. We know about them, and if you have a need and we can see that they fill it, we can help you get in touch with them. We can support you through that process, and then you get the opportunity to have access to a tool that can genuinely grow your business. So that is our, that's our sort of like national strategy in terms of connecting women to resources that are essential. But also the point of a Chamber of Commerce is connection. So we want to connect our members to one another. So right now we are only operating in Ontario. Essentially, what we are doing right now is forming our Ontario chapter, and we will expand nationally within the next 3 to 5 years. But while we're doing that, we do want to make sure that we have at least one networking event a month in Toronto and in the Greater Toronto area, which is where we're focusing our efforts right now. It's a packed marketplace, as it is in many other of the major cities across Ontario. Ottawa is a fairly packed marketplace. Hamilton, Burlington, Oakville also have a lot, and there's a decent amount in Kitchener-Waterloo as well. So we don't want to crowd the marketplace, but we do want to give our members the opportunity to get together. So we're doing that 2 ways. We have a monthly networking event, which I will tell you a little bit about in a few minutes as we wrap up the presentation. But that is focuses more on thought leadership and sort of like the big ideas, give you some inspiration, give you something to think about that you could take forward, and so that you can connect with fellow business members or fellow CANWCC members, but also other women in the community who have been drawn in by that topic, who may eventually become members, but it is a good way for you to sort of stimulate business. Another way that we connect our members is through a directory of our members that is nationally available to all our members. So that means that if you are looking for an import-export lawyer and you want to work with a woman, or you would prefer to work with somebody who is a member, you have the opportunity to search our database. And likewise, let's say you're an accountant and someone's looking for an accountant with import-export experience. Those are, you can search the database for that as well. So those are the ways in which we are trying to facilitate connection between our members. Another thing that we do as well, this one isn't the kind of thing you can like sort of put on our marketing materials, but we do often receive requests from the community for a service or a product, or they're looking for a service provider. So we also have a Facebook community, and we tend to pop in there and say, we've received a phone call from, person X. They are looking for this kind of person. If you are interested, we would be happy to provide anyone who's interested in working with this. I can provide you some more information. We can find out if they're your customer or not. For example, some people only work with startup businesses. Some people only work with established businesses. So if someone was looking for a coach, I don't want to send them to somebody who is someone who only works with an established business. Who's a coach who only works with established businesses, and vice versa with startups. So that is something that we do as well. So we do our best to connect you to the community. As much as we're growing, we're getting more and more of those types of calls, and we're able to connect our members to one another. We also get calls from our members about that as well. Hey, I'm looking for a so-and-so, do you know? And then we will search the member directory ourselves and provide the names that are in there. So that is how we connect our members to one another and help them grow. So finally, the last thing that we do that is very important to us is advancement. So we advance women's businesses with programs and resources designed to help you take action. I have spoken about this a little bit before, but I just want to, I'm going to get a little bit researchy for a second. Our Chief Executive Officer, Nancy Wilson, is extremely passionate about the research behind why women's businesses plateau, what prevents them from growing, how we can create programs and services or seek out programs and services that support our members in getting past those blocks. So from an organizational philosophy, we are very invested in resilience and self-efficacy, which are fancy words for, feeling like you struggling with self-doubt and confidence, and that is not true of every woman, but we do tend to derive a different form of satisfaction in our businesses, and often the businesses that we start are for a personal reason. We derive, in aggregate, again, I'm not speaking for every single woman in the world, but we do derive a different type of satisfaction from our businesses than just having a spreadsheet and trying to beat our sales numbers week over week. We want to make sure that we're making an impact in other people's lives, and we want to derive satisfaction from our own businesses. We want to feel good about the work that we do. Usually when you speak to a woman business owner, they have a very specific way in which, or a specific answer to the question, how do you know you're helping people? Or how do you know your business is supporting people? And it's generally related around feeling, it's generally related around, a satisfaction of knowing that their client or their community has been served in the way that they intended, which also means that we do tend to get, things get a little more personal when we come up against the big stakes. And because we do derive a different satisfaction from our business, it does mean that we plateau a little earlier. If you are paying the bills and you are everyone's getting paid, whether you have employees or not, or whether that's just you, and the business is trucking along, and you are supporting your clients in a way that feels good to both you and them, maybe you don't want to do the maybe slightly scary thing of trying to figure out how to become an employer and sign up for WSIB and get an accountant who can handle payroll and, figure out how you're going to track hours and create a policy manual and have some kind of at least basic human resources support. And what do you do about those people's vacations, and how do you handle those things, and what happens if somebody gets pregnant? So those are a lot of things, right? Those are a lot of things to think about. And sometimes it's definitely easier when you're already satisfied with your business to just not do that. And so we're here to connect you to resources both in the community and at government levels to make those steps easier. But also our programs and resources are designed around genuine support and research-based supports for providing women the ability to get the best out of those programs and resources and services. So we are very much for providing you with education that falls under skills development. So when you leave, you feel like you are ready to do the thing. So if it's a 3-hour hands-on course where you come, you bring your laptop, you connect to the Wi-Fi, and you set up your QuickBooks online right then and there, or whether it is a feminist business planning workshop so that you can genuinely set down a business plan for yourself every year, and it doesn't feel like you're getting a root canal because business planning is painful and difficult, but women don't necessarily do it the way everyone else does, and what if there were easier tools that made it better and faster and easier for you to get that done? So those are the types of programs and resources and services that we are working towards. So for example, the primary program that we have that we've launched, we launched late March and is just about to go forward with its first cohort, is a mastermind program with in partnership with a company called InFounders. Their mastermind setup is not that different from sort of your average mastermind, but the way in which it's run and the philosophy behind it and the supports that they have within it were perfect for us. And that is why we decided to partner with them over other organizations or other masterminds that were available, simply because they met our resilience and self-efficacy tests, and they genuinely support women in going forward and taking real action in their business, and moving past a specific block. So you can look for more programs and services like that to be released throughout the year. We have just brought on a director of education and programming, Lindsay Johnson from the Radical Connector, and we've just done a survey, and it's actually open and available right now. If anyone's interested, I can provide. We connect with the link, and you can give us some feedback on your business, and we're developing programs that women want and need. Okay, so that, in a nutshell, is what we do. So next I want to talk to you a little bit about membership, because we are a member-based organization. So our members are women just like you. They are at any stage of business. So that's startups, micro businesses, SMEs, or like the mid-range of SMEs, and also big business. They are in any kind of business. So that means that you can be an artisan, or have a cleaning service, or make a product and import export it. You can be a coach, you can be a travel agent, you can be an accountant, a consultant. You get what I'm saying here. We don't have a bar on what type of business it is. Especially there's a lot of prejudice out there, especially from funders in the general business community, that somehow service-based businesses aren't scalable, or can't work long term, and we think that is fundamentally untrue. I think that's the nice way to say that. So we do need women to own at least 50% of their businesses. So we have two categories of membership. One is a business membership, or a woman-owned business membership, and the other is a woman-controlled membership. So a woman-owned business would be related to, or would be very similar to the criteria for woman-owned at WeConnect. So you do need to own 51% or more of your business in order to be classified as a woman-owned business. And we initially left our membership criteria at that, and that was it. We were done. And we received so much feedback from the community that there are so many women who go into business with their husbands. Their husband is a silent partner, essentially. But he owns fully 50% of the business. So we added a level, or a criteria rather, of business membership to be woman controlled. Now, I know technically both of them are woman controlled, but we do have to put a label on it somehow. So if you own at least 50% of your business and you are the CEO, so you do have to be responsible for making the major decisions day to day in the company. And that is a criteria that we accept as well. And most importantly, we want, our members are passionate about connecting with a network of business owners who are committed to making change for women in Canada's business ecosystem. So that is a fundamental part of what we do, and it's a fundamental part of what our members want. So our members benefit from CANWCC membership by having input into that national advocacy agenda, being listed in the Canadian Women-Owned Business Directory, which is accessible by our national network of CANWCC members. As I discussed previously, that lives in our back end, and we use that frequently to provide referrals both to our own membership, for our own membership, and to the community at large when someone is looking for supports or doesn't know where else to go, and they'll give us a call because it says woman in our name and we seem friendlier. Our members also benefit by receiving discounts on services, education, and partner benefits. So for example, we do have a health insurance plan for our members. It's a very good health insurance plan. It's very reasonably priced. We sought them out because they are a large company, but they are family owned still. And they are some of the loveliest, friendliest people you'll ever meet. And they absolutely are passionate about helping you get the most out of your insurance. So if you want to start with the two packages that we offer, either individual or family, and you'd like to add short-term, long-term disability, accidental death and dismemberment, that's an unfortunate name, but that's what it's called. If you'd like to add any of those things, they're completely flexible, and they understand that entrepreneurs are time strapped and cash strapped, and they want genuine value. So we partnered with that organization to provide the health insurance. We're partnered with InFounders. InFounders provides us with a 45% discount off of the cost of their regular mastermind. So everything that we do, we try to deliver genuine value to our members. When it comes in, you pay us to do that. That is one of the things that your membership goes towards, is our staff internally making sure that we can get you resources that genuinely help your business and for a cost that provides benefit to being a member. And in addition, we also are launching the Women's Business Center, which is an online woman-focused business reference, and it'll be launching this summer. So, as I mentioned previously, there are feminist business planning options. I don't know if you knew that. I know that I didn't know that before I joined this organization. So it is, to us, it's fundamental that our business references are written from a standpoint of being accessible to women, understandable by women, and the easiest to understand, the easiest to grasp, and the easiest to use tools available. Like, again, being an entrepreneur is difficult. It takes a lot of time and a lot of energy. So why struggle with your tools when we can provide both a regular business plan, which might be the right way to go for you, or an alternate feminist business plan, which you might connect with better and be able to get through the planning process. Or wait, hold on, maybe you might look forward to the planning process every year. So that those are things within the Women's Business Center that we're focused on creating. So these are just a few of our partners in Toronto. We are adding more partners every day. We're very grateful and glad that WeConnect is on this page. WeConnect and ourselves share some very, we like to think forward-thinking mindsets about women in business, and how women are really Canada's biggest untapped resource for our GDP. If we stopped trying to participate in a system that we didn't create and that we don't control, and just did business our own way, in a way that supported ourselves and our own communities, really, we could set this country apart from the rest of the world, no question at all. There are some truly amazing women here who are all doing incredible work. And whether you want to be a solopreneur who works from their home office and has a maximum number of clients that you can ever have during a year, and that's what you want, or whether you want to be the next Walmart, that's what we want you to do, right? Those are the things that we want to be able to support, and we know that there are women out there right now who can do that. We are not the exception. We are definitely the rule. So I just want to briefly tell you a little bit about our plan. We are a brand new organization, as I mentioned. We have done a lot in the past 4 months. We have 100 members, and we're going strong. So our plan for for our first year, essentially, is to grow our membership. So we are connecting with other women's organizations, trying to support their members where we can, and trying to grow our membership. Because that is the fundamental part about advocacy, is that we do have to have a large group of members to advocate for. So when we go forward to government and we say, 80 of our 100 members think that this is what they want, that's definitely a large majority, 100%. There's no question about that. But if we were able to say, 80% of our 100,000 members or 10,000 members think that these are the 3 advocacy pieces that we need to go forward on, and they think this plan is just terrible for them, and here's why. That has a much larger impact, and that's really what government wants to see from us. So in the meantime, we are developing relationships with those women's organizations so that we can continue to, create advocacy agenda from them. And from the women in their organizations. We're also developing strong relationships with government, both in agencies like, ministries like Status of Women, both federal and provincial in this case, but also, government everywhere. I mean, right now we're in Toronto, like that's where our head office is. So we will, we're connecting with the City of Toronto. We're working hard to create those relationships with, Export Canada, with the Trade Commissioner. So that is handled by my partner in crime, our CEO, and I'm more on the member management side, but that is our plan for now. And then once we've reached a scale of membership that we are that we're pushing towards, we're aiming to have 500 members by our end of fiscal year, which is September 30th. So once we get to about 500 members, then we are absolutely on it in terms of pushing forward with an advocacy agenda. And in the meantime, we will do as much advocacy as we can that doesn't require a large scale or a large buy-in from our membership. So, for example, there's an election happening in this province this year, and we are absolutely on a side-by-side comparison of the gender plans or plans that affect business owners, and then putting a gender lens on that, as I mentioned, but also in addition to any policies that affect women. And if there's any advocacy that we can do, if there are town halls that we can go to, if there are all candidates meetings that we can be at to ask questions and essential questions from our membership, that's what we're going to do. So advocacy does have a lot of moving parts, and it looks a lot different, but that's what we're doing in the meantime until we move forward with our advocacy agenda as in a formal way. So that's what we're doing. So we're developing those policy statements on women-focused advocacy issues. And finally, we're looking ahead to a national expansion in 3 to 5 years. Likely it will be in the 3-year period. It will quite likely be sooner than that. There has already been a great deal of interest from Quebec, and I will be in Montreal next week for meetings, and so quite likely we're going to expand into Quebec very, very soon. So within 3 to 5 years, our plan is to be in every province, so all 10 provinces. We do need to take our time moving into the territories, simply because their business needs are very different, and we choose not to bowl our way in and implement something that doesn't that has no relation to the way that they do business, no supports that really look like anything they need. We choose instead to observe, to research, and to ensure that when we enter those territories, it is exactly what businesses in that area need. So that's us in a nutshell. I would be very happy to answer any questions that you have. In the meantime, if you would like to learn more about us, you can visit our website at CANWCC.ca. You can email us to ask any questions that you didn't get a chance to ask today or that you forgot to ask today at hello@CANWCC.ca. You can come and visit us at an event. We have 2 coming up this month. We have one tomorrow, which is May 16th. It is happening at Verity, downtown Toronto on Queen Street. It is actually a partner event with We Connect International, so we will be sharing We Connect with our members, but also we'll be sharing a little bit about CANWCC with We Connect's members, and just sort of generally hearing from a WBE about what certification has done to help her grow her business, and there's going to be wine and appetizers. It's going to be a lot of fun. And we do also have one in 2 weeks, 2 weeks tomorrow rather, on May 30th. And that is flipping the script on women in leadership with Belinda from the Women's Leadership Intensive. So she will be talking about, there's women leaders look like lots of different things. We don't have one there's not one correct model of women's leadership, and sometimes we can feel like that. Sometimes it's, well, in order to be a woman leader, you have to look like, you have to be Ariana Huffington, or you have to be Sheryl Sandberg, or you have to maybe even Hillary Clinton, for example. There's a lot of there are a lot of models for women's leadership out there, but they are not the only models. So Belinda is amazing, and she's going to come and chat to us about that. That will happen at Make Lemonade, which is near Spadina and Adelaide in downtown Toronto. And you can find tickets for that on our website later today. And we would love to connect with you at one of those events. And that's it.
Great, Trista. That's amazing information. I hope all of our attendees found it very helpful. I actually have a couple of questions here.
Perfect.
So, how can one start a Canadian Women Chamber of Commerce chapter in another province?
That's a good question. For that, honestly, you would just need to reach out to us. So our needs in that area are essentially that we need somebody who is ready and available to assist us with connecting to the major advocacy players in that province, but also somebody who is ready and available to create partnerships like the ones that we've created here. So, for example, Make Lemonade is our ongoing lead event sponsor. They provide us with the space to do our events. So if someone was willing or interested to find something like that in their area and wanted to support us in running events and connecting us to organizations in those chapters, or sorry, in those provinces, we would absolutely love to have more chapters in other areas. So thank you. That's an amazing question.
Great. Please, all our attendees, if you have questions, don't hesitate to type them in the question and chat boxes. As for a second question, how much is the Canadian Women's Chamber of Commerce membership?
That is a great question, actually, and I apologize for not covering that. So our membership, we wanted to make sure that it was accessible to women at all levels of business. So as a result, it is actually scaled to your business revenue, your annual business revenue. So, for example, if you have if you have a business that has zero revenue, so if you are either in startup or pre-startup and identify this as something that you'd like to do to support your business, all the way up to $250,000, the base membership is $100. And it goes up from there to $1 million, and it goes up in specific increments. And it is and the max amount, so if you are at $1 million in revenue annually, or if you choose not to disclose your revenue, which is 100%, that is no problem, there's no issue with that whatsoever, then it would be $350. So it ranges from $100 to $350.
Okay, perfect. As a women business owner, how do I get involved with the Mastermind program?
Amazing. So for that, you can either email us at hello@canwcc.ca, and we will connect you to Aiko Thurlow, who is the owner and founder of InFounders, and is the one who manages the intake of those of our mastermind participants, or you can simply go to our website, and if you click on our partners page, there's an item at the top on the navigation bar. The link on the InFounders logo is that'll take you actually to our application page, and you can apply to the mastermind right from there. So you do need to be a CANWCC member to get the 45% discount on the 6-month mastermind. And I just want to be really clear, you don't have to be a CANWCC member, excuse me, to participate in the InFounders mastermind. They do run them all the time. It's just if you do want to get the discount, you'll need to be a member.
Perfect. And do you have any upcoming online courses?
Right now, we don't. The survey that we that I mentioned earlier is definitely going to inform our Director of Education and Programming's choices. So probably we will have some upcoming education very soon. And we are working on something right now that will be delivered digitally that is in the area of finance with hopefully a sponsor. So that's a little bit of a tease. Nothing is in stone right now, but that should be upcoming. Let's see, it is the middle of June, sorry, May right now, so probably first couple of weeks of June.
All right, thank you so much. And by any chance, are you looking for volunteers?
We are definitely looking for volunteers. We have a lot going on. We have a lot of things that we are trying to get done. And so absolutely, if you would like to volunteer with us, please feel free to email us again at hello@canwcc.ca. Or if you'd like to reach out to me directly, I would be the person who handles, where those volunteers will go and what we will do. And that is at you can reach me at Trista, Trista, at canwcc.ca.
All right. I don't know if anybody else anybody else has more questions. I recommend to all our attendees to take advantage of this time to make questions. But I think all of them have been covered. Thank you so much, Trista, for this webinar. I think all the information has been tremendously valuable. And well, this webinar has been recorded, so it will be uploaded to our YouTube channel, and you will be able to see a recording there if you would like to go back to anything that was covered. And also, we will send a follow-up email to all the registered attendees so that they can see a recording.
Perfect. That's amazing. And thank you so much for allowing us the opportunity to share this with your members. We are very grateful for A, that you exist, and B, that we were invited today. So thank you so much for your time. And thank you to everyone who attended or who watched this video. And we look forward to serving you in the future.
Thank you so much, Trista. Have a great day.
Thank you. You too. Take care.